I've been taking care of business. I washed all my dishes last night. No, I didn't. I fed all the horses, did the things I've been ignoring in this 9 to 5. With the weekend finally coming around, I'll be picking the cricket crowd. Nowhere to be but front porch bound. And I got all the time in the world. There ain't nothing on my plate that needs doing today. I might seem a little lazy, but I've earned it for sure. I got all the time in the world.
Well, it is not 1861, but I got Gatlin Johnson with me right here. How are you doing today, brother?
Doing great. How are you?
Fantastic. Did you survive this snow pretty well up there, or did y'all get any?
We got a little bit. We didn't get as much as Fort Worth, but we got a little bit out here in Lubbock.
A little bit. And does it just blow sideways, or like how does
It
the
happened
snow
overnight.
out there work?
It,
Oh,
it, it can. It can for sure. I used to live up in Canyon. It's worse up there, but here
jeez.
it can get that way. It's either cold or it's windy. It's not often both in Lubbock, so that's not bad.
Perfect. And you are in your senior year, finishing up which degree again?
A bachelor's
And what are you studying?
kinesiology.
Okay. Okay, got to learn how to move right, you know.
Yeah, sports
And
science.
do you want to go towards like sports, athletic training, or are you going more towards deeper studying?
I want to do music. No,
I
yeah,
like that. No, that's great. Yeah.
my original plan was to be a football coach, and I still feel that at some point in my life I'll be a football coach. I don't know when that's going to be, but
Hey,
right
even
now.
if it's pee-wee, you know.
Oh yeah, no, I'll be a high school coach at some point.
Yeah, and you know about that because you played running back for Aledo, yeah?
I actually did not play running back for Aledo. I was a linebacker and a fullback. Um,
Yeah,
I,
totally. My
we
research
had
was way sideways.
well, no, somebody I think somebody misspoke one time. I was a running back at West Texas A&M in college for a year, and so that kind of got lost in translation, maybe with some other folks. But I never played running back at Aledo. I was a junior varsity quarterback, and then I was a varsity linebacker and fullback my junior and senior year.
Well, I'm glad we set the record straight. We'll make sure
Yeah,
that everyone knows from here on
we
out.
we had a much better running back than me. I probably would have been all right, but Demarco Roberts was our running back, and he was outstanding.
Love that. And how have you been feeling about all the playoffs going on right now? Any hot takes or strong opinions? Anything you've seen that stuck out to you?
Last night I watched the Texas and Ohio State game, and I mean the last couple games in the playoffs, the Notre Dame, uh, Penn State game, and then that game last night was they've both been really really good football. I've enjoyed it. Finally,
hmm And how do you think NIL has affected all this? I don't fully know like how to correlate what's been going on, but it's clearly even the playing fields are made the path every school takes very different.
yeah, I think out here at Tech, I think it's going to help us a lot in the next couple of years. We have some a lot of people out here really care about Texas Tech football, so they're willing to give their money and stuff, and I think that it'll help Texas Tech. I don't think it's good for college football the way it's going right now, but yeah, I don't know. I don't have any hot takes. I don't think it's. I wanted to be a college coach, and then Nick Saban getting out of coaching for the reason of the NIL stuff, kind of it's it's reset my mind a little bit about the world of college football. So
Hmm.
I'm kind
How
of
do you
uncertain as well.
Yeah, do you like his commentating?
I love it. Yeah,
Yeah, I
he's
think he does
great.
really well.
I'm glad he's a part of the game day crew.
I also think he balances out McAfee really well.
Yeah,
I love Pat. I was a Colts fan, and so love, love, love Pat. And I think he and Nick together are just hilarious. It's like a father
yeah.
and son, but they don't even realize how comedic they are. We're really blessed. I would say really blessed to be in this time of all the people that came out of the golden era of the NFL and college moved over, and they all teamed up. And I just think we're really, really fortunate to be listening to them and get their perspective on a lot of things.
Heck
But
yeah.
even though I'm not much of a football guy, I played rugby, so
Oh wow.
can't say too much about football. But it's enjoyable. It's very enjoyable. But we're also very lucky to be living in the time we are with this renaissance. And you said it, and I love that you just boldly was like, I want to play music. That's what I want to study. Uh,
Yeah.
what what got you started outside of playing gospel with your family? Did you have any specific artist that you really like? You remember listening to a specific song, or you really looked up to a specific artist, and you said that's what I want to do, or did it come later on in life?
It came later on in life for me. Um, I've always loved all kinds of music, even mainstream country, which I know that's a sin now. But I grew up on, you know, that kind of stuff, Tim McGraw and all that. So I don't have a ton of hatred for mainstream and stuff like most people might think. But I no, there wasn't one specific artist really. It came about my sophomore year of college is when I decided this is what I wanted to do. So
Yeah.
I my sister bought me tickets to a concert at Billy Bob's, and I went, and the artist was somebody I did not know, and everybody else knew. It was a sold out crowd, and I just realized by how much all these people cared around him and everything and they knew all the words to every song. Which I'm not saying every song was great, but they knew all the words and they were singing
Yeah.
it very passionately. And I, uh, I remember thinking that night that I was like, this is something I want to do. You can literally just be honest and people care. I
Yeah.
always thought that was really cool.
Yeah. And I definitely can tell you put a lot of authenticity into your songs, which has to be honest. And that's why
I
my
appreciate
personal
that.
favorites, as you know, we've talked about is Texans and Okies. And what's the backstory for you there? What's the personal connection for you there?
Growing up, um, my dad and most of his family's from Broken Bow, Oklahoma, in southeastern Oklahoma. And we'd go up there every spring break for fishing and hanging out with family and stuff. And every
Hmm.
night we'd have a campfire. And dad played guitar and sang, and uh, our cousins sing. And so I just grew up around music, around a campfire. And when somebody wasn't singing, somebody was talking politics or something, And so I always wanted people to just keep singing, so I didn't have to listen to the politics. But it seemed like every issue in the world could have been solved around that campfire to me, if they would just listen to my family, which is
Hmm.
not probably not totally the case. But in my mind at a young age, I was thinking, you know what? It's so simple, it's just as if people would just listen to what these people were saying, um, then the world would be a better place. And I was at West Texas A&M in my freshman year, and I remember missing those times sitting around a campfire and stuff. And um, there was a lot going on in the world that I didn't agree with, and I started to write this super political Oliver Anthony, get your attention kind of song. And then I stopped and I was like, you know what? It's not really that big a deal. I wrote this list of things the world needed more of. I can't remember exactly what the list was, but I remember this is how I started writing that song was, the world needs more of this, more of this, more of this, less this, less this. And then I remember writing, it needs more Texans and Okies. And then I was like, actually, that's all it needs. It really just needs more Texans and Okies. And I know you're from Arkansas, and I got family from Arkansas too. So, but in my head, it just all of those things, that big list, it was summed up by just saying the world needs more of these kinds of people. And I like that idea.
Oh, don't worry. My mom's an Okie too, so I mean,
There you
this the state itself I don't like. The people are great, but
go.
if it's not East Oklahoma, like the Broken Bow area, the Ouachitas, yeah, I'm not really about it. Um, but East Oklahoma is fantastic, and
Yeah,
that's what your take on it too. I think you did it really good justice there.
thank you.
But you said wasn't your grandpa? He also played guitar really well, and he was one that brought you up. Like you looked up to him playing guitar.
No, it's pretty much just my dad.
Just your dad.
My dad.
I was trying to remember. I remember somewhat again for people who don't understand my confusion. We have a show called the Spotlight on Thursdays in Fort Worth, and we were really blessed to have Gatlin up on stage. And we've interviewed probably 60, 70 people, and so I know there was someone else that literally had the exact same story of like around the campfire, Dad
Yeah.
taught me everything was solved right there around that campfire. And something about the album cover, but I'm thinking now that might be someone else. They had their dad and grandpa on the album cover.
Oh, there you go.
But we're skipping today. It's a
No,
little
my
chunky,
my,
but
my grandpa around the campfire, my dad's dad, he didn't play or anything. He'd sing with us some, and mostly he would just request that one song. Play
mm,
that one song.
I love
We
that
always thought that
he's
was
the jukebox requester.
we
Did he
always
give
thought that
you
was really
any
funny. But
quarters?
I mean that was no, that was really like a direct quote was play that one song. He couldn't remember what that one song was,
Oh yeah.
but as soon as we played it, he was happy, and everybody knew what that one song was. It was "Thinking Problem" by David Ball, if you know that one.
hmm
And
Yeah.
yeah, so every time he said play that one song, it was that one.
Did he tip you anything? You put out a hat at all?
I didn't put out a hat, but he's definitely given me some of like the secret grandpa handshakes, where there's money involved, and
Oh, got
uh,
to.
which is great.
Yeah. And you were
Whether it's
talking
a
about,
$2 bill or whatever, but
hey, I'll take it. You got to collect
yeah,
this.
yeah.
You were talking about writing that song, and halfway through, you were kind of like, no, and it turned into another song. I'm curious about your writing style. Like, when you're studying for kinesiology, that's probably a different thing, right? But when you're writing, it's you can go 1,000 different ways. And some people start with the melody, some people start with the lyrics, some people just go together, which is insane to me. But how do you start the process? Do you find a melody and then find the motivation, or find the motivation, start writing lyrics, and then go for that melody?
It's come all like you said 1,000 different ways. Like I think I've obviously haven't tried every single way to write a song. There's plenty of ways that I haven't, but all the ways you just listed, like melody first, just having a tune in your head, and then trying to find something that fits that, or having a hook already, and then writing to the hook, or having a story and writing the whole story. And I mean, I've done it a bunch of different ways so far. I'm excited to try other different ways. You always meet other people, other writers and stuff, and they've always got a bunch of different ways to do it. So
Yeah, you don't try to.
co-writing is one way
Yeah,
to
that's
do
you're
something
actually heading in the
different.
direction. Yeah, that's where I was going to go with it. I just wanted to give you more attention, but you don't have a specific way you like go for it. If you're like, I have this idea, I have this method I'm going to keep using. You just kind of feel it.
Yeah, I think that's like I said, being honest is it goes hand in hand with this thought of serving the song. And so like
Mm,
not to get too like out there or anything, but I do believe that ideas in are just out there. I think that an idea is something you have to grab onto, and however it comes, you need to serve that idea the best of your ability. So if it comes through a melody, then you have to chase it that way, and if it comes through a hook, then you got to chase it that way. So no, I don't have like a specific way that I. The only thing I do try to do if I am trying to finish a song, I try to do pen and paper, just because it feels better to me. I don't know what it is about that. And then the idea of keeping a journal is so great, because I've had times where, you know, if you're going through the notes, it's easier to look something up for sure. And I have stuff in my notes, but it's pretty awesome to go back and look, like flip through the pages as time has progressed and see like what you've left behind and what you
hmm
might be able to bring to the next song and that kind of thing. So as far as like continue continuing a specific process, the journal is the only thing that has stayed the same through each song.
I mean, that's a good place to go. I mean, Benjamin Todd has an entire song on the literal idea of a journal. It wasn't his, but he literally wrote about writing, and it's absolutely insane. But then you also said co-writing. You really enjoy that, and you have one called Oklahoma Rose with our buddy
Mm-hmm.
JoJo,
Mm-hmm.
JoJo DiSalvo. And so, how did that come about? And again, he was telling me, that song was first take. We just did it. Was it like you got trapped in there and you were already on your guitar and he's just like, play this, or y'all were already writing together and then you just said, screw it, it's 2 a.m. Let's record it. Let's just get it out there.
Yeah, those two things happened on two separate nights. So we wrote it one night, and then the first take happened on another night. But the writing thing of it was really cool. It was one of the coolest writes I've been a part of. We had a couple of friends from East Texas, Jackson Wendell and Cole Stevens. They're
Mm-hmm.
both artists that you should check out. They came into town, and I told them they could stay at my place. It was the week of the 25th anniversary at Blue Light, and so they were coming to check that out and do the songwriters night and stuff. And after, I think it was after that songwriters night, they came over, and JoJo came over to my house, and my crappy couch, I mean, just torn apart. You can see it in some of JoJo's videos somewhere. It's on my front porch now. It's my front porch couch, but um, we wrote it, or we tried to write all night till about 2 in the morning. Couldn't write anything. We were kind of not fussing, but just we didn't really know each other. I think I found that that's been an important thing to me. I know it's not to everybody. Some people can walk into a room and write with whoever, but like getting to know somebody and feeling that out is an important part of that process. And that night we didn't have that. And the next morning I woke up and everybody else was kind of still asleep. And while JoJo was waking up on that crappy couch and the other two guys were sleeping, it was pretty early. I started playing this melody and a chorus that I had written part of, which was Oklahoma Rose, um, which is just, I mean, it's really just a true story about leaving Oklahoma and it raining like the last 3 or 4 times, and being partly from Oklahoma, it just kind of felt like it was, telling me to stay, not to leave. And JoJo liked that idea. We wrote the chorus together, and then we wrote the first verse together. And then Jackson Wendell kind of woke up and he was like, "Hey, that sounds pretty good." And then Cole came in, and then we were all working on this song in the morning, and we pretty much had it done up until the second half of the song. I guess the second verse, yeah. And JoJo, we were all kind of going, spitballing things, throwing them back and forth, and JoJo kind of sat for a minute. And I had never written with JoJo up to this point. We just became friends last year, and man, he's super talented. It was one of the most impressive things I've ever seen. We were playing. I was playing. My thing is, I just play the melody over and over again and try to think of things that fit.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was doing that, he was literally just sitting there going like this. And I thought he was like mad at me or something. I didn't know what was going on. And then he just said, "Keep playing." And I played it, and he just spit out half of a verse that was some of the best stuff I've heard so far. And we finished that song pretty quickly that morning. And it's one of my favorite songs that I've written.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's
And
cool.
then recording it was kind of the same thing. I'll let JoJo tell that most of that story, but it was basically we were just up too late one night, and one of the sound guys that works at Blue Light, Leighton, he was like, "Hey, I'm setting up a little recording studio in my house. If y'all want to come over and record." And we went over there, and um, I was trying to write another song because we were same. It was the same feeling, like me and JoJo together, and we were kind of working on one, and then they were like, "Let's record something," and so. Um, Seriously, first take, JoJo did that, and it's some of the best vocals that I've heard him do. Um, so yeah, both of those were very like natural, in the moment kind of things, and it feels that way, I think. And we both. I don't know if he plays it in his set, but I played in mine, and it feels completely different. It's not a whole different song, but it feels totally different. It's a super country song, and his
Hmm.
got a lot of soul in it, and it's great. I love both versions. If you're ever like in Fort Worth at one of our shows, you'll hear us do it. So
That's the thing. I always try to make any show I can when I'm free. When y'all get out here, like I greatly enjoy y'all's live music. I mean, I wouldn't have you on the show if I didn't. Because to me, live music is what makes a country artist. I don't think there's such thing as a studio country artist because, like you were saying, country music is well, music as a whole, but specifically what you're writing is about honesty, truth. And in a whole, it's storytelling. That's the only thing that really separates our genre from everyone else is storytelling. And so, um, radio, stadium, pop, bro, boyfriend country has its place, but I try to stay in the places that prefer your style of music. And you keep mentioning Blue Light. Uh, and I've never been to Lubbock, and I feel like some of our listeners might not have been to Lubbock. Am I accurate in saying it's kind of like the Tap in College Station, where it's just a place it's a really strong place for songwriters, and it's kind of like, I would call it, from what I hear, it's like Lubbock's Tap, and College Station's Tap is like Lubbock's Blue Light,
oh,
where
there you
it's
go.
just
I
like,
think you said it right the second time.
oh,
Actually, I don't.
okay, I knew, I saw it in your face. That's I honestly, I kind of hate comparison. Like
Yeah, yeah,
I hope you noticed too during the show we did. I try to avoid saying, dude, you're just like Chris Stapleton, or you're just like, and it's like, no. Like, I try to say, like, you kind of sound like this person, or I feel like, and I always or make a joke about it, so it's like you hear it, but it's like hearted, or saying something like, you sound like you remind me of, I don't know, Park McCollum if he was raised in South Dakota or something, like, to mention something but that separates you from everything else, so that you at least have a little bit of a type that you can push, but it's not as though I'm trying to box you in. So yeah, the blue
sure.
light is not boxed in. I just want to give people an idea, and heck,
Yeah,
maybe some College Station kids will drive up, to
yeah.
visit it because they love the tap. But
Well,
tell me
that
more
that
about, or excuse me, blue light.
I
Tell
was
me
just gonna
more
say that
about.
line that College Station loves so much that came out of Cleto Cordero's mouth was probably written in Lubbock. I mean, he's a Lubbock guy. He came out of Blue Light, so I miss College Station.
Hmm.
You know the line I'm talking about. Maybe I
Oh
don't
yeah, oh,
know,
yeah.
but
He's such a good writer. Well,
yeah,
everyone in that group is just so talented, and that's what I
for
think
sure.
makes them who
Yeah,
they are. So,
Blue Light's a
but
really
Tom,
special
yeah,
place. I mean, I don't know the whole history really, but I've heard this is true. I don't know if this is true, but the first person to play at Blue Light was Wade Bowen, and it was in
okay,
the late '90s. So Wade Bowen in the '84s, I think, is what their band was called, and I'm pretty sure they were the first band to play the Blue Light. That's a pretty good start right there.
yeah,
I
I love that
mean,
lore. See, that's what we're trying to
and
find with everywhere. Just good
right
lore.
after that, you had um, Josh Abbott. I don't, like I said, I wasn't there, but these are the stories that I've been told. So Josh Abbott used to do a Tuesday night song swap at the Blue Light, and supposedly the first time that Will Green got to play there was because Josh Abbott snuck him in underage to play his song swap. So you're talking about a song swap between Josh Abbott and William Clark Green on a Tuesday night at the Blue
Mm,
Light. Like
that's crazy.
this is how the Blue Light became what it is today, and now everybody wants to play there, and not everybody gets to because they respect original music and people that work hard. I for the most part, I mean, I love the people there and the atmosphere. You can feel it on that stage. Like
Yeah.
that's a stage you have to respect. I mean, there have been people that go up there and disrespect it, and people that have been around it, they know. Um, so it's a really special place. I mean, Wade Bowen, Josh Abbott, Will Green, Cleto Cordero, Slade Coulter, like all those people came out of the Blue Light, and
Hmm.
others as well. I mean, I'm skipping probably some others.
Yeah, and we always, when we talked, we always said that, you described your music as Texas country. What type of ties or connections do you have to Red Dirt? Like, do you have or do you even care? I mean, I know a lot of people are like, oh, I don't care about genres, but also, like you just said, the history matters, tradition matters, And it's not the fact, again, that you are a red dirt artist or you are Texas country, but it's the fact of like, I almost, if I was a musician, I'd want to be in certain subgenres, at least for like certain songs. I'd want to make specific ones to honor those people or to at least be
Yeah.
tied to them. And so, like, when I ask that question, that's kind of what I'm looking at is like, what are your thoughts on red dirt, and also where do you see yourself? Uh, like, if you had to put a percentage on yourself, of like, where do you see 1 foot in Oklahoma, North Texas, and 1 foot in, Central, South, that Texas sound, true Texas sound?
I don't know if I could do percentages. It kind of goes back to the serving the song thing I said earlier,
Mm-hmm.
where I can, and I'm sure everybody can do this. They probably just don't. I think a lot of people are scared to do different things,
Mm-hmm.
thinking they have to have a sound or whatever. And I think that's what Texas country or red dirt, whatever you want to call it, is all about. Is about expressing a song, um, whether you like how it sounds or not. I think a lot of people are just trying to serve their song, whether it's rock or grunge or whatever. I mean, I don't do any of that stuff. We're dipping our toe in the rock vein with a song that we're putting out later this year. But
Come on.
like you said, you got to do a little bit of everything to honor where the roots of where you're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm around it all the time. I mean, I'm around. I hear Red Shahan at the Blue Light all the time. I mean, that is some funky stuff. That's like Texas as it gets right there. And and then you hear Slade Coulter all the time. I mean, he owns the Blue Light right now. Like he'll sell out any show, anytime at the Blue Light right now. And so that's more rock, and you have to serve your songs. And I think naturally you write different songs, and so
Mm-hmm.
one of our songs is very right up the alley of that rock vein. And it was fun to do that in the studio last. We did it in December, and it's a lot different. Like we have a little bit of everything. So I'm glad you asked. I don't think I could do a percentage because it's it's per song for me.
Mm.
I there's a quote by Chris Christopherson. I don't know that it's that well known or anything, but if you listen to one of his recordings of me and Bobby McGee, um, he says it right at the beginning. And I don't know if he said this because Joplin did it and made it popular or whatnot, but he said, "Man, if it sounds country, that's what it is." And so, with subgenres and everything, you can say it sounds country, doesn't sound country, but like if you listen to Slade Coulter, that is rock and roll, but it sounds country. I mean, it sounds country. I love
Mm-hmm.
it, and there's a bunch of other artists like that. Um, so that's one of the quotes that I like to keep in the back of my mind when I'm writing songs and thinking of production for those songs is if it sounds country, man, that's what it is,
Mm-hmm.
and just keeping it country for what the song's supposed to be.
Yeah, and that's, to me, that's what I hope people see that I'm pushing, is the fact that country, again, to me, is storytelling. And so I don't know if you've been like staying up with Steven Wilson Jr., but he is heavily inspired by like Nirvana, but
Mm,
yet he is country as country gets. And so he calls it like Midwestern Gothic, where he will
yeah,
play a lap steel or a dobro, but he is singing country music, but he's even sampled under he sampled oh my gosh, Heart Shaped Box. I'm pretty sure he sampled the. I don't even want to try to do it on this mic, but I could give you the lick that the guitar does.
yeah,
And he sampled that, but yet it sounds like that type of like rock folk, that like the heavier side of red dirt, I guess I'd say. You know what I'm saying? Like where red dirt and
hmm,
Appalachian kind of mix into that rock.
yeah,
It doesn't have that Texas rock sound. It's that like folk rock. He did it, and it sounds incredible. And so
that's cool.
I think that's 100% true in the sense of, as long as you're songwriting, as long as you're telling a story, I don't
Hmm,
care if it's literally. That's what I also love about J.R. Carroll. Like, write
yeah,
about a raccoon. That's
it's a
the
great song.
coolest story I've heard in
It's a
almost a
great song.
decade of like, it's just about a raccoon. What? But that's
Hmm,
country. It doesn't have to be popular. It doesn't have to have 808s. It doesn't need to sound like rhythmic or anything like that. It's just simply telling a story, and how you want to describe that story and present that story, like chase that idea. Hey, that's the beauty of an artist. And that's what I think I will say a lot of people are failing at, I think, with subgenres is we have lost the ability to follow an artist. We
Hmm.
follow them because they're country, but we don't have our guys who are crossing over anymore, because it seems today when you cross over, you have to stay over. But I would love to see more country. Like Chris Stapleton's he's kind of starting, like he's always kind of done it, but like pop over into other genres and be the country influence that is clearly in that song. Like you're the one that brings us to them. Instead of changing your sound, do that. Like just be country. You
Yeah.
know. And so I'm curious though too, what with covering rock, with not covering rock, but like being inspired by rock. How did you have to change your vocals at all? Did you study anything? Like, did you have to warm up differently, or did you did your thing?
I just, I mean, yeah, you got to warm up for sure. I didn't change the way I sounded at all. I don't. Let's see. How can I say this? Um, no, authenticity is a good word for it. I believe in being authentic, and so though the production of the music sounds rock, I'm not gonna change my voice to sound like somebody else. I don't want to sound like Blink 182 or nothing.
Oh, you
Um,
didn't want to do any screaming, bro? You didn't want to do any guttural vowels
no,
out there, just bellows?
no, yeah. I mean, I'm a pretty good impressionist, but I don't think that's not something that I want to do in my music. I'll say it that way.
I think that could be a bonus song. That's what was, I think, great about albums back in the day is guys would like have an extra song at the end of their album where it was just like, because you're listening to the CD, you get
Hmm.
to the end and it's like a bonus track of just like you feel like you're in the studio with them and they're just like going ham, joking around, doing what they want.
Yeah,
I think that'd be funny though. You should, even if it's just a, well, now we got social media, so I guess you can do it there, but that would be funny to
I do it on
promote your
live
song.
sometimes. I do it on live a lot because I've got this song called "For You," and it really lends itself to like I said, Blink 182 or Bowling for Soup, like
Hmm.
"For You," like you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah. Oh, you
Tonight
like,
will be the night that I will fall for you.
yeah. Oh, I always
Yeah,
love doing that. Over again. Don't
yeah,
make me change my mind.
yeah.
Oh, classic, classic. That was one of my favorites from Vine. Or no, that was early TikTok. That was really early TikTok. That one joke, that the specific video I'm thinking of. Speaking of that, and you were saying live, y'all do really well performing on lives. What do you think? Like, how are you feeling right now about everything going on? I think it's what, January 19th now. They're saying about TikTok.
I don't. I haven't kept up with it.
Yeah, supposedly I think it's January 19th. They are talking about the ban, but again, from what I've heard, if you have it downloaded, like you can't re-download it. So it's like
I hope they
you're
get
just
rid
gonna
of
roll
it
with the
all.
punches.
I hope they get rid of everything, and everybody just has to go see live music again. Honestly.
I like the way you think, Atlas. See,
Yeah,
you're popping out
that's
with just gems in this. Like fantastic, just out of nowhere, dropping absolute great words to say to these people. You need a preacher.
well, my grandfather was a preacher,
Yeah.
and his father was a preacher, and
I didn't know if you wanted to talk about your background in gospel at all or
no,
anything, if that inspires
I
you today,
no,
uh,
absolutely. That's some of the
or
realest music out there. I mean, we're talking about being honest and stuff. Of course, I don't know about Christian music today, but the old hymns,
hmm
very very honest lyrics. I mean,
hmm
people will tell you exactly what they did and how Jesus saved them from that, and I think that's one of the reasons that I really resonate with honesty and heartfelt lyrics.
hmm
So
Yeah, I think contemporary has messed with a lot all over. I mean, I went to seminary, and one of the craziest things was I didn't really start working on the honky tonk until I had left vocational ministry. And the parallels between the Big C church and the honky tonk, like our issues, there there's a lot of parallels of people not knowing the history or tradition or truth, scripture in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the people who are leading, the instructors, the people who we should hold accountable, are failing a lot. They're held too highly. They have too much power. And then, like you just said, the easiest way for me to show people that parallel is music. Contemporary country and contemporary Christian are the same thing. Everyone in contemporary country said, "Oh, we got to get more people. We got to get more people on the country train. If we don't, everything's going to die." And it was all about getting people, and that's how pop made its way in, because we were just making repetition. As many radio plays as we can get is what we're looking for. Then all of a sudden it became about money, and it's like, okay, worship music. When it became about getting people in the door and giving power back to that like small town musician that's not as good as this great musician, that great musician stopped writing great hymns, great music, and started writing 3 chord songs so that this musician could play it.
Mm-hmm.
Great concept. Great concept. The issue is, like how you talked about those hymns, there wasn't much content, or I guess I would say substance in those songs. And what's funny to me is I was thinking, dude, I've been in church my entire life, and if that screen went off, I don't know if I know all the lyrics.
Yeah. Talking about
I
the hymns?
truly, no, hymns. A lot of my hymns I got, you
Yeah.
know, but well, because again, they have a story. Like you know the
Right.
story, and you make it yours, and then
Yeah.
it's like you're like, I'm this person. Let me sing about what I did, and
Mm-hmm.
like then it becomes a part of you of singing to the Lord, and making it personal. But when it becomes those one where it's so bland that it's like I kind of relate, but it's also like everyone's done this, so I don't feel like this is my song. Like I don't feel this right now, and therefore I can't actually. I'm not convicted at all. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm not truly praising. I'm just kind of like following what the worship leader is telling me to do, you know. And it doesn't feel authentic. Like it does not feel authentic, authentic
Right.
in the slightest. And so yeah, there's huge parallels right there. And so it's great to hear though that you still appreciate those good hymns.
Absolutely.
Where does your faith play into what you're doing right now? Is it still that chasing the idea? Is that a very faith based thing for you? Of you think that inspiration, like your muse, is the things that the Lord gave you?
I That's a tough one to answer right there. Um, I think as far as writing music goes, I keep that with me. I try not to make it about that. So for every song, there are some songs that I've written that are very faith based, and I've quoted Bible verses in some of my songs, and people might not ever know it because I'm not saying it, but um, the Bible is is the best book of all time, and I probably haven't done it enough, to be honest. But using the Bible as a tool to write a song is a really great thing to do.
Hmm.
Um, like I said, I don't think every song that is getting put out there needs to have that, but I think that just having that foundation alone has steered me away from writing certain things. I don't write drinking songs. Um, you know, I write really country songs, and there's not a single song that I've written that has a line about drinking beer in it. I think for the most part, especially today's songs about that kind of stuff are very cop out. Like it's very what will people say? Heck yeah, at a show to
It's
and
pandering.
yeah, exactly. And so I even had a co-write with somebody that we struggled about that for so long. They were like, well, why wouldn't you just put a line in here about? Well, it's just like it's so easy to say that, and so um, that is one thing that my faith has steered me away from, and there's other things as well. Um, but we don't have to go through the list of things I'm not writing about. But there are certain things I just won't put in the song because I don't think that that's something I need to promote.
Yeah, I think that's a huge deal because a lot of people seem to think that's like what makes you country. You know, if you drink enough, or if you smoke enough, or if you go out driving enough, and if you fish enough, or you're tough enough. And it's just like, no, I just like take care of my family and take care of the land and respect like the Lord and respect my authority. That's it, And then the second any of that needs to be stood against, then I'm the first person to stand up. I seek to do what's right, and that's biblical. Love
Hmm.
justice, serve humbly, and or serve, love justice, seek. Oh my goodness, why did I start into this if I'm not going to know it? And it's one of those like you should like I know it, but it's because we're here. Love justice, seek mercy, walk humbly before your Lord. I was there.
There you
But
go.
that's it. Like, and the thing is too, what I do love about Scripture is, like you just said too, it's the best book because you don't have to have faith to learn something good from it, right? But for it to be perfect, for it to like truly work on you, for you to reach your full potential of who the Lord sees in you, you have to understand who He is. And it's like having a relationship with your father. Like you can read letters from your dad and learn about yourself and be like, oh yeah, I should do that. But unless you have a
Hmm.
relationship, then it's not actually going to make that true change, and it's not actually going to fully um, develop you. There's no sanctification because there was no justification. And so I think that's really good that you have those standards and you stick to them. Don't ever lose that. Like truly, don't. There's no need, and it makes you more creative. To be honest,
Absolutely,
okay,
yeah.
right here, I could just drop that in. That's like sugar. I could just boom, I could do that. But instead, I'm gonna think deeper. Like, what else is there? And I think
Yeah.
also drinking, like you said, it's not pandering like we see a lot in like from early country to I would say probably the 90s, early 2000s, because these people actually drank like bad, and most of them
Right.
died from it.
Yeah.
What do they call it? The Hank syndrome.
Yeah, those aren't the songs I was talking about. I wasn't talking about Whiskey Lullaby
Oh, of course.
or
I'm
any
saying
Pete
no.
Willie
You wouldn't
songs,
write that.
I,
You wouldn't write
right.
that because you don't like. You have to experience that. And the thing is,
That's true, yeah.
you haven't drank away your family or like lost your life to drinking. So what inspiration do you have to talk about that? You know, what
Yeah.
idea are you chasing?
Right. Yeah.
Oh, you got something you're holding on to.
There's just there's people that you know uh and I take inspiration from other people's experiences as well. But
Mm.
anyways, yeah, I just saw something today that I thought of when you said that, so
Oh goodness, we can talk about it after. Oh man. But speaking of what you saw today, I'm curious what you have going on right now. Um, to like, what are you working towards? You're about to finish your degree. What's the next step this year? What are you going towards besides dropping that is it EP album or is it just a single?
we'll be dropping the first thing we'll be doing is dropping a single in March, I believe. It
Okay.
could be late February, but probably March. And then a few other songs throughout the year.
Okay.
And just keep playing shows. I do not really, excuse me, I don't really know where the next step is. I just know that to keep doing what we're doing. I think we're doing the right things, making new music and playing it
Yeah.
in front of however many people show up.
Okay.
I don't know what else to do.
So just chase the idea. That's the goal. Just keep chasing the idea.
Absolutely, yeah.
Love that. Love that. Well, where would you though? Clearly, you have goals, but I'm curious, where do you see success? Like, what would you want to see? Like, is it a magazine article from a specific publisher that you love? Is it an interview with a certain person? Is it making a song with a duo that you love? Making a duet with someone you love? Is it the fact of like, if your dad approves of this like certain song, or like what do you define as success? And it can be multiple things, but like I'm curious where you see success in the future so that I'm chasing this idea and this is the next like notch in my belt.
Yeah, to me, success is based on people showing up. I think
Okay.
I think we've really started to build something here in Lubbock, where we play at the blue light and you can see people singing some songs back to us. And I think that success on a bigger level looks like that room is full of people and
Hmm.
nobody can get in that's one in, one out. And everybody in there is singing every word to every song. I think that's the ultimate goal. And I think that after that, it's going to towns that I don't live in and seeing people doing that. That's how I would define success for me because that affirms that my words are resonating with people
Hmm.
everywhere, and so that's how I would define success.
Okay, so you're like a farmer of artists. You wanna develop the specific areas, and as you do that, it's naturally going to grow out. And so you want to
Oh yeah,
see you're loyal to where you are. You're loyal to the soil. You're not a cowboy in
yeah.
the sense of you just want to go for the glory, go for the big, like as far as I can get, as quickly as I can. You're here, and you want to develop areas.
Absolutely, yeah. That's one of the reasons we play where we've played and where we're playing the next couple months is I believe that these areas are very important to
Hmm.
music and that music is important to these areas. Um, my hero, as far as his like artistic beliefs, I guess, is Sturgill Simpson. And you talk about like mixing genres
Yeah,
and
yeah.
having loyal fans, like that is what I want to do. I don't need, it would be great to play stadiums or whatever, but I want to fill a room and with people that know my songs and they know my songs because they care,
Yeah.
not because it's some TikTok brainwash. Um, my bass player, I think it was him. He came up with the term red dirt brain rot. Um, you know, there's people that know every word to every song because it's showing up 1,000 times a day on their TikTok feed. They don't really care what it's saying.
Hmm.
So those aren't the fans that I'm looking for. I mean, I hope they come to their senses and we awaken them from their slumber. But um, like the Sturgill Simpson kind of fan that really cares about music and cares about meaning is the kind of people I'm trying to fill a room with. And I don't big, small room, whatever. That's success to me.
Hmm. Yeah, I love that. I love that. I actually was going to mention Sturgill when we were talking about, finding that rock sound. I was like, what is it, Johnny Blue Skies?
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, do you have a Johnny Blue Sky voice? But that's funny. I forgot. You love the three
I
albums
do.
you gave me were Sturgill. Who else? Was it Tyler?
I doubt it. I do
It was
love Purgatory.
Sturgill, someone, and then you said Zach Bryan. And I remember I was roasting you hard because I was like, "Where did you get Zach?" And you're like, "Yeah, I think I wrote that answer a little too fast. I'd like to like take that back." And I was like, "No, we're sticking with it."
Yeah, that was
Um,
on Apple Music, I think, was what that was on. But I mean, hey, I'm not ashamed to say that he's a, I think he's a great songwriter, and definitely a great performer. They put on a heck of a show.
oh yeah.
Um,
Again, I am not a Zach
but
Bryan hater.
but
It's
still,
just
it's not one of my top albums for sure. It's not one
exactly,
of my top
exactly.
albums.
Yeah, I get that completely. And I'd love to know though too, as a lot of the people listening can tell, you speak with like you don't speak loud. You don't speak like someone like me does. That's just very um, kind of. I say I speak with a lot of fluff, and that's why hosting helps because it like people just want to hear stuff. They go, and then you can just feel that fluff until you hit the truth, and you just keep going fluff, fluff, fluff. You are very like, as we've heard throughout this entire episode, you're just kind of like you think, and then you just have an answer. You're very precise. I'm curious where that conviction comes from. Like, what motivates you to one, your how you carry yourself, but also the way you're saying, like, I just want people to know the truth, and I want to fill a room with people that care. Like, where does that conviction come from?
I think seeing people do it the other way, um, and everybody's got different goals,
Hmm.
so that's totally fine. But knowing what you don't want to do is a very important step in knowing what you want to do. So, I don't care about having anyways, I probably shouldn't say that, but,
No, come on.
um,
You can be honest.
no, whatever. um,
I'm a bad
no,
influence. That's all right.
there's some things. No, I say a lot of things I probably shouldn't, and whatever, but, I think maybe that's why I'm so well thought is because I don't think things out and I just say them, and so that's gotten me in trouble in the past. Maybe that's why I'm thinking about everything I'm saying. But no, I know what I want to do because I've seen people do the other thing and what they want to do, and also um, knowing what kind of life that I want. Um, People use the word famous a lot, and I don't like that term. I don't ever want to be famous, and I'm not right now for sure. But I don't have the desire to become famous.
Mm.
Sure, well known is probably a better term. Like I would love to be well known in music. That'd be awesome, and I hope that I move a lot of people. Um, but I would honestly much rather, like I said, fill that room with people that care and wake up the next day and go to church, or wake up the next day and go duck hunting, or wake up the next day and go fishing. Like I want to be able to do all that stuff. I I want to hit the road. Like that's definitely a goal of mine. Is I want to play everywhere, but you can also fish everywhere you go too. Riley Green has done it the best, I think, really so far, and he's blowing up right now, out of his control. But it seems to me like his music is literally just funding his hunting addiction. And I'm super jealous of that because I can't afford to hunt on big ranches and with big. I also saw Co Wetzel did like a hunt with what's that Austin company, Burlebo.
Mm.
He did like an elk hunt with Burlebo, and I was
Yeah.
like, that's what I want to do. I want to be just big enough to where I can go hunting for free, like
Yeah.
you know.
It's about the brand
That's
deals.
so really, yeah. Seriously, I mean, that's that's why I know what I want to do because I know what I don't want to do. I don't, Parker McCollum always talks about being the next George Strait, and that's an amazing goal. And I think that he's well on his way to like being that popular. But that's not something that I intend to become. And it's just a different thought of mind, I guess.
Hmm. So what would you say like three things you don't want? You don't want to focus on fame. Like if you gave yourself three boundaries, three guardrails, where like if someone like me was holding you accountable, like helping you later on about being like, hey, like you don't want to be this, right? Like what are three things you're just like right off the top of your head, you're like, I don't want that.
I don't know
Or
if there's
maybe
really three, but I mean, I don't I don't want to be famous. I really hate that term. Like I well known. Well known is a great term for that. But people really do want to be famous. I mean, that is something they want everybody to, look at them and all that kind of thing. And that's not something I want.
mhm.
I want the songs to be out there in the world. Um, I don't know if I could come up with two more honestly.
Well,
Because
maybe
I keep
things of like you don't want to be seen as. So like maybe you don't want to be seen as like the panderer. You don't want to be seen as or like known as like
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've got a song. It's not my favorite song, but it's called "Ain't No Cowboy," and it it says I ain't no cowboy in the chorus because I ain't no cowboy. But
mhm,
what the message of the song is, it's about people dressing like cowboys, and pretending to be cowboys. Not just dressing like cowboys, but pretending to be cowboys is the thing. Because you can wear whatever you want. Like, I have no quarrel with that. But doing it for attention on TikTok or whatever, and then the whole world sees this and they get this thing confused where a country boy is a cowboy and a cowboy is a country boy. Like, and I'm just a country boy, not a cowboy. And so that's what the message of the song is. It's like you guys on TikTok with your shirts off and cowboy hats on have made everybody think that like this is what country people are, and it's just so not true.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people have misunderstood that song, and that's fine. I don't, they need to listen again, I guess. But um, yeah, that's one thing I definitely don't want to do is pander and take my shirt off on TikTok and all that crap.
I mean, if you get enough roses and whatever, I don't know other gifts, but I mean,
And I'm not talking about like a music video. I might have a shirt off in a music video soon. I don't know, but I just mean like the whole staring at the camera and being um, sexy or whatever.
yeah, that's one thing
That's
I
one
don't want to
thing.
be, John Carter. I don't want to be sexy. Like,
Yeah, no, hey, you know
don't
what?
make me,
Put that on a
Lord,
t-shirt.
please don't make me
Uh,
sexy. Oh, I'd hate that.
Put that on a t-shirt right there.
Lord, don't make me sexy.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, that's a great. We could sell that to Walmart probably. I mean, make it like in Western font, sell it with the Wrangler stuff. I mean, that's what I'm wearing, dude. This was like
yeah,
14 bucks from Walmart. That's why I love when people complain about like, oh, I didn't want to dress country during like these country dance comps because it's really expensive. And I was like, Walmart literally has brush poppers, like Pearl Snap, Wrangler shirts. Like, nah, you're good. You got it. It's not too difficult. And that's what's also funny. Like you're saying, these guys on TikTok act like it's really difficult to go get a brush popper. Anyone can do
yeah,
it. So why
yeah,
is that like the defining factor of who you are? It just doesn't make
yeah.
any sense to me. Doesn't make any sense to me. But uh, well,
It's a real thing.
yeah, I wanted to open that door just in case you did want to lay some convictions on us. But of course, we can always do that in our own time.
Yeah,
Yeah, I get you.
yeah,
I get you.
yeah,
Uh, but I do think that that makes you who you are. Definitely stick to those convictions. Don't ever lose them. Don't ever waver on them. I think they're very important. And dude, I really like what you're doing. I'm looking forward to this coming out. These singles and um, if it is a full album or just an EP, dude, I don't care. I'll take whatever I can get. But why don't you tell these folks where they can find you if they want to know more. Maybe they got some questions for you specifically. Where socials? Where are you playing? It's coming to the end of January. What do you got going on? And what would you like them to know?
yeah. Biggest thing we got is actually on the 24th we'll be in Willow Park at Railhead Barbecue. It'll just be an acoustic set with me and one of my buddies, Peter Arena. He's a great songwriter out here in Lubbock, and he plays bass with me for the most part. Plays guitar with some other guys. We'll be at Railhead on the 24th,
Come on.
and that'll be great. That's my hometown, like Parker County. That's where I'm from, so I'm super excited for that. And then on the 31st, we'll be in Lubbock. We'll be at the Blue Light on a Friday night headlining, and we're bringing out Lincoln Swansea from Fort Worth. He's going to come open for us with um, this kid named Tanner Menegay from San Marcos. They're both
Mhm.
super talented songwriters from two different areas of Texas. I thought that was really cool. I kind of thought that'd be cool to put together. I didn't know if it was going to happen. It worked out for both of them. So we're really, really pumped. We might have some other people come out. I'm not sure. Um, but it's going to be a really fun show. If you ever want to make a trip to Lubbock, like come out on the 31st of January. And there's a dance floor. I mean, there's a spot to dance. So that'll be really cool. That show, and then Abilene on February 8th at Big Country Beer Garden, and then on the 22nd of February we'll be at Cheatham Street with my good buddy Cameron Albright, who's a phenomenal songwriter as well. So
Yeah.
those are the dates coming up. And then you can find me on Instagram at Gatlin Johnson Music, and pretty much every social media platform is Gatlin Johnson Music, YouTube, all that stuff.
Yeah. And you got in March. You said the first single should be coming out.
Yes, yeah, that's very exciting. Yeah.
Okay, March. That's awesome. And then you're looking to try to release it full project or more singles or anything more towards after summer.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it comes out. I'm planning all of that right now in the process of making a calendar. So you shouldn't have to wait too long for the next one, honestly.
Okay, we'll stick to March though. We'll
Yep.
rally to March. We're trying to
Yep.
try to find some of those shows. But dude, I'm really looking forward to what you're gonna do, sticking to those convictions and what you can create by chasing those ideas. So it's been a pleasure, man. I hope you enjoy the rest of your night, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Heck yeah, man. Thank you for having me.